Thank you, Delegate Kaine. So let me just, I was standing there listening, and Mark took away a lot of my talking points, but then I realized they both said something. They're hungry. So, you go to a lot of events, they said, don't let me stand between you and your meals. Well, I'm going to make this short and not stand between the governor, soon-to-be senator, and his meal. So, we're here, just really quickly, have some housekeeping. We have some voter ballots translated into Vietnamese, Korean, Chinese over there in the corner, so feel free to grab some. They're sample ballots, take them home, share with your friends, because this is about getting Tim Kaine elected, but it's also about standing up for the issues and voting for it the right way here in Virginia this election. So right now we are in Sa Eden Center, the heart of the Vietnamese American community on the entire eastern seaboard. It's important to note that because myself, as a Vietnamese, many of us came here not just as immigrants, but we came here as refugees. Big distinction. We came here as refugees because we were politically, set apart in Vietnam, and there's many other folks from Africa who make Northern Virginia their home because they're also refugees. So issues like immigration hit us. International policy hits us. So that's why it's important for a man like Tim Kaine, who understands Northern Virginia, who understands Virginia, to represent us. Because as you look around here, it's not one culture or one community. There is a diversity of people here, and Tim Kaine understands the diversity that's in this room right now. And part of that diversity, as Mark already said, is because of Tim and his values. I met a man who ran for governor many years ago, not so many years ago, but a few years ago. I was very impressed with him then, and I continue to be impressed with him now. Why? Because I've met a lot of politicians. I've met a lot of candidates who say a lot of things that sounds good, but they don't follow through with action. Tim Kaine follows through with action. He is a man of values and integrity. So during this election, we've heard a lot about integrity, value, character. This is a guy, a man that I am willing to stand by at any moment because he believes and he does what's right. It started when he was a young man and went to Central America and worked with folks who didn't have that ability. That's when his character, I believe, was started forming and it was expressing itself. It continues to express itself today because he reaches out. This morning he was with a Korean American community. This afternoon he's here with the Vietnamese American community and everybody plus. Tomorrow he'll be out in Loudoun County, which is a little bit more conservative, but that's okay because he represents all of Virginia. Because in Virginia, you have to represent the conservatives, the liberals, and everybody else. And he's able to reach out. So unlike a lot of politicians who says, I will work with the other side, he has worked with the other side. He's had 4 years of a balanced budget. Look, the reality is, as a leader, sometimes you have to make tough choices. You have to make a cut here, you got to increase that there. That's what we elected leaders to do, to make those kind of hard decisions. They're not easy decisions. If they were, all of us would be elected. But they're hard decisions. But based on his values, he's done the right things. That's why Virginia has been the best place, best managed state, best place for businesses, best place to raise your children. Those are good, great qualities. And what we'd like to do is to make sure we send him to the Senate, not just to represent Virginia, but to help bring balance to America, because we have this massive unbalance right now. And finally, as a man who speaks out, again, this is the heart of the Vietnamese American community. If you notice back here, there's two flags. The United States of America, the flag, and then there's that other flag, which is the former flag of the Republic of South Vietnam. That country no longer exists. But Vietnamese Americans worked hard, and we spoke to the governor and a lot of other legislators. Tim Kaine, when other people didn't understand why, Tim Kaine signed a bill that recognizes that flag as the Vietnamese American heritage flag. Yeah. And not only that, he continues to represent human rights. He continues to represent human rights because we've talked about Guantanamo, we talked about all these other places, but human rights is a daily aspect. Many of us here come from countries where human rights is not practiced well. Sometimes we have questions within this country, but that's another debate. But my point being, we have a man who has values, integrity, and character, who's willing to stand up for those issues, and I have no doubt He will continue to fight for Virginians and fight for Americans when he is elected senator. Our friend and soon-to-be Senator Tim Kaine.
Thank you so much. Thank you all very much. What a treat. This is my last rally before the big state fly-around tomorrow, and what a fitting place to have a last rally. I am so happy to be back at the Eden Center with so many good friends. This is the 5th or 6th time that I've been to the Eden Center, sometimes visiting businesses, sometimes having roundtables with community leaders. We were here to do the signing of the bill that made May 11 Vietnamese Human Rights Day in Virginia. That was something we all worked on together. I'm so thrilled to be here with An. Thank you so much for your leadership in the community and your great work with so many other great leaders. We were together last night at the rally, so many of us, and it was great. I do want to acknowledge the two delegates who spoke, because I feel a little bit of parental pride in both of them. I'm not old enough to be their parent, but Alfonso worked with me, was one of my cabinet officials, and then I worked hard with him when he was elected in 2011, which was such a wonderful thing, and he's doing a great job. As I was in my last year as governor, I was campaigning with Mark as he was elected, and I've had such great time. He taught me what K-pop was before I knew what it was, and I give him great credit for that. And Mark is a superb member of the legislature. I want to thank Hung for his kind words and his service in effective leadership at the state party level. Look, we're here because we all care about our country and Commonwealth. We might call ourselves Irish Americans, or Vietnamese Americans, or Indian Americans, or AAPI, but we're all Virginians, right? We're all Virginians. We're all Americans, right? We're all Americans. And the reason I love being here is because I love that rich and beautiful tapestry of human creation that God put on our planet, and that is the Commonwealth of Virginia today. This morning I went to 3 religious services in 3 languages: English, Korean, and Spanish. And I could have gone to 10 in 10 languages if I had needed that much preaching. But that rich tapestry of who we are as human beings is now who we are as a Commonwealth. And I always like to say that there's only 4 states that choose not to be called states, but choose to be called Commonwealth. Once I was at a school group, and a student asked me, why is Virginia a Commonwealth and most other states are states? And I did what any politician knows who doesn't know. I just made up an answer. Now, I wasn't 100% sure, but I thought I probably would get the essence of it, and I told this young man, a state is a dotted line, a boundary, a political jurisdiction, but Commonwealth says something special. It communicates a notion of community, and that the wealth we hold in common. Well, if we have the pride enough or the hubris enough to say we're a Commonwealth, then we have to act that way. We have to allow all to be part of the community. We have to recognize the talents of all and the skills of all and the contributions of all, and allow all to participate fully. And so that's what is so wonderful about being here with you at the Eden Center today. Let me just talk about 2 issues that I would love to work with you on going forward. First, while some have doubts about it, I feel very, very deeply that our diversity in this Commonwealth is a great strength. Not only is it a moral strength, I think it's a moral strength because God created us in diverse ways for a reason. We ought to celebrate that. But also, diversity is a great economic strength. It's an economic strength because success today in the world we live in is very connected to, are we connected globally? Do we have those global connections? Now, we can think of a Dulles Airport as a global connection. We can think of a port in Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads as a global connection. But the way I look at it is every new American who has friends and family in other places, or any American who does, people are global connections too. And the more connections we have in Vietnam and in China and Europe and Latin America and all over the globe, the more connections we have, the stronger that we'll be, because having those global connections is a key to success. So that's why the Eden Center, that's why our growing AAPI community, that's why the growing New American Face of Virginia. Over 2/3 of Virginians, the growth of Virginia in the last decade is Asian American, Latino, and African American, and much of the growth in the African American community has been born in Africa, citizens who then became naturalized in the United States. So as we grow and become more international, we connect with that global economy, and that makes us economically stronger. Diversity is a moral strength, but it is a profound economic strength in the 21st century, and that's one thing that's so great about being here with you at the Eden Center. And I will stand up for the values of diversity. I will continue to put a team together, as I did as mayor, as I did as governor, that reflects who Virginia is, and work on priorities and shine a spotlight on the accomplishments of this most diverse and most wonderful community. Second, the Eden Center it's not a charitable operation here, it's about small business. This is a small business hotbed of activity, and that also makes it so very exciting. I grew up in a small business family. My dad, Al, who is now with my mom, they're 78 years old. They've come out from Kansas City to be with us for the election, ran an ironworking and welding shop. In a good year, there would be 7 employees. In a tough year, there would be 4 employees, plus my mother and my 2 brothers and me. And this was the business he ran. Now, if we want to talk about job creators really are not the ExxonMobil. That's not really the job creator. Job creators are the small and startup businesses. And if we understand that, then we put policies in place that enable to make it easier for small businesses to get loans, or easier for small businesses to participate in government contracting, or find export clients. And this is something that I worked on very hard as governor. Even in a very tough recession, Virginia was listed as the most business-friendly state in America every year during the 4 years that I was governor, and it was because of the strength of our small businesses. So I've already done some work together with businesses here at the Eden Center on small business issues, and I'd love to continue that partnership and work together in the Senate to make sure that our small businesses have what they need in order to be successful, because we can make Virginia a real model, and our AAPI businesses and all of our small businesses across this Commonwealth can be such a great model for that. So whether it's about the diversity and talent and our global connections or the strength of our small business community, I cannot think of a better place to stand for my last big rally the day before election than right here at the Eden Center. Now, I will just say this, and then we're just going to mingle and visit, and I am actually going to try to get a little food while I'm here. But let me just say this. This election is very important, and it's very close. We're all used to now reading articles, like there's a huge article in the Post this morning about Virginia as a battleground state, and we're used to that now. It wasn't very long ago that we were no one's battleground. In fact, we were at this event in Prince William last night, and I mentioned to some Prince William supervisors, now Prince William is thought as one of the battlegrounds of the battleground. Just 5 years ago, it was the non-battleground of the non-battleground. But here we are in Virginia, a battleground state. It's very, very close. That's a good thing. You know, the fact that it's so close means that both parties have to take us seriously. The First Lady was here Friday. Vice presidential candidate Congressman Ryan was here in Virginia yesterday. President Clinton and President Obama were here last night. Governor Romney is here in Virginia today. Both parties have to take us seriously. Now, I'm a Democrat, but boy, I love the fact that both parties have to take Virginia seriously, because I think Virginians are important. How about you? I think Virginians are important. And so now both parties have to take us seriously, but that means, since we're so close as a battleground state, that the spotlight's on us, and we have to do our best work. When it wasn't very competitive, we didn't have to do our best work, but now we do. As look at all these cameras that are here. I can assure you that 2/3 of them would not be here if Virginia was not a battleground state. So with so many cameras here, we have to do our best work. And that means turnout and participating and encouraging others to do the same. I'll just say this at the end. There are still voters who are undecided. It's hard to believe with all the ads, but there are still voters that are undecided. Who is an undecided voter? I think I know. Someone just raised their hand. Let me say we got a couple. Good. Well, let me say a word about undecided voters. Undecided voters are not going to vote based on the letter after someone's name, because they've known that for months and they're still undecided. Undecided voters are not going to make their vote based on one more negative ad on TV because they've seen negative ads on TV. They started running negative ads on television against me in November, a year ago. So one more negative ad isn't going to make up someone's mind. What will make up someone's mind who's undecided is a positive word from someone they trust. A positive word from someone they trust. And all of you are in that category of someone they can trust. As you reach out to family members and friends, as you answer questions and make phone calls, you can be that someone that people trust. And that's what I would ask you to do between now and the closing of polls on Tuesday night. Talk to folks, especially folks you know who might be undecided, and try to convince them first to participate. Participation is always so important. And then if you can go beyond and encourage them to vote for me, I would appreciate that. Thank you so much. Let's go win. Let's have a great election. Appreciate it.